Few games are showing off gameplay this week and some bad news with more layoffs in the games industry. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, August 2nd, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Like I said, we got to see some gameplay for a couple pretty prominent games this week. First of which is Quidditch Champions. So, yep, because Quidditch wasn't in Hogwarts Legacy, we still have an itch to scratch. People want to play Quidditch, and WB is delivering it with Quidditch Champions. And yeah, I think, they talked about how there's going to be an online mode. They talked about the solo career mode where you make your own character. So they're really kind of pulling out the stops and trying to make it sports title esque, but with that Harry Potter fantasy element. And I was actually surprised by the release date. I haven't been keeping track of release dates because it's been pretty light, looking at the future of gaming. But yeah, it's coming out in September 3rd. So it's now that we're in August, it's only a month away. So yeah, I saw some pretty cool gameplay, and yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can be able to play. I'm very curious how uber competitive, if the game's gonna have that kind of like hard edge you need to play like ranked competitive in Quidditch. So yeah, I'm very curious what the multiplayer experience is gonna be like for Quidditch Champions. But I will, I guess, see in a month's time. Moving right along, Star Wars Outlaws showed us about 20 minutes of gameplay this week, and really kind of emphasized that we are not playing as a Jedi and running in guns blazing with our lightsaber out. But what it sounds like, or it seems like, Outlaws is going to be more stealth based, and we got to see a little bit of cover shooting in the game. But there was like a lot of sneaking around on. I don't know what the time frame is, but it looked like they were on the Death Star, and of course you're gonna be able to hop into a ship and go out and start dogfighting in space. So, but yeah, the stealth focus I think is what was kind of noteworthy from it. But I wouldn't expect like I said, no guns blazing moments in as a bounty hunter. I forget if you're like a just a general smuggler or if you're a bounty hunter. So pretty cool stuff to see for Star Wars Outlaws. Mortal Kombat wasn't at or didn't announce too many characters at Evo, and so it seems like they were holding off to announce all their stuff that they were going to announce at Comic Con just a week later. So coming out of Comic Con, Mortal Kombat will be adding three more third-party characters: Conan, Conan the Barbarian, not the talk show host, the T-1000 from Terminator, and Ghostface. So one of my favorite points in any Mortal Kombat game is always the like third party. When the Terminator into the on the same screen at the same time was a pretty high bar, but yeah, always excited to see kind of third party characters coming to Mortal Kombat. So excited to see that this week. Like I said, there's going to be a little bit of bad news in this news report. The one first of which is that Game Informer, the video game magazine that's been around for 33 years, is now closing down. It was a pretty big hit as someone who definitely collected like Game Informer covers and all that kind of stuff, and still liked having like a physical magazine. I know magazines are kind of dying off, but having a video game magazine die off is a pretty big hit. They were like the final vanguard of kind of like the video game print media. So I know a lot of it's online nowadays. You can probably get all the articles there, but yeah, I always liked seeing the covers come in and seeing what it's all about and what the big new exciting thing was. So, and because it took more time, it just felt a little bit more precious. But yep, we'll have to pour one out for Game Informer. Definitely have my memories, my fond memories of checking out Game Informer magazines. Also, like I said, reach out to your friends like I did this week. Reach out to your friends at Bungie because Bungie was hit with a pretty big set of layoffs this week, adding more than 200 employees to the kind of 2023 and onward gaming industry layoffs. So that was very unfortunate. I find it interesting that they kind of they said they were restructuring and that they're going to be more focused on Marathon and Destiny, which I'd be I mean, obviously don't really know what they were working on besides those two titles. But yeah, I find it really interesting that they're like focusing on Marathon and Destiny, and it's like, what else were you working on? But yeah, I guess those weren't panning out, and unfortunately, uh, 220 employees are no longer working at Bungie. So do reach out to your friends if they work there, and yeah, make sure that all the dust is settled. I'm very curious to get kind of the inside scoop on what's going on. Moving right along, something a little bit more chipper. Randy Pitchford keeps teasing games and has finally started talking about that the next Gearbox game coming out, it will be in the Borderlands universe. So based on that information, people are already starting to speculate on whether or not it's going to be Borderlands 4 or if it's going to be Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2. I don't know that if the sales were there. I don't remember if Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was a big hit as far as like revenue generation and all that kind of stuff. But I also know that we haven't, because of that, we haven't been in the mainline series for a while. Although I don't know. I mean, you can always just make up a new cast of characters to kind of continue the saga of the mainline Borderlands games. So yeah, I'm very curious what a Borderlands 4 would look like. But I think it's probably more in line with like a Tiny Tina's Wonderland 2, which I had some fun playing through. It's always dependent on. I mean, I feel like the Borderlands series now is just very dependent on the people you're playing with. So yeah, I had fun playing through it with my Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I had fun playing through with my friends. So if there's a new one that came out, I bet we'd pick it up and enjoy that one for a little bit as well. So, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. Is it going to be Borderlands 4, or is it going to be Tiny Tina Wonderland 2, or is it going to be something else? New Tales from the Borderlands 2, 3. I don't remember if there's been a second or third one yet, but yeah, I would eat up another Tales from the Borderlands game. So, looking forward to that. Microsoft talked this week about spinning up a AA studio internally to help them. It sounds like to help Blizzard with mobile games. Maybe they don't want to pay that NetEase money to get them to build their games, although that gives them the in China that they probably want. But it also kind of gives me an opportunity to talk about. I'm very curious that like they don't like that like AAA developers don't spin up like AA's to like build out a working model or even release smaller $40-50 title games that are a lower investment level. It's always I have friends that work in video game finances, and it's like if you can't make $100 million game which is on the low end nowadays. If you can't make $100 million game fun, then you're not going to be able to do it with $200 or $300 million. So yeah, I'm surprised that you don't do these like low budget $40-50 million games, even $80-90 million games, and try and see if you can make that a success rather than instantly going for the $250,000 or the $250 million or $500 million bet. So yeah, I just kind of got me thinking like they really should have more like Skunkworks type small teams like working on these kind of smaller pitches and smaller ideas. I just think very bloated at the top of the AAA charts. So curious why they don't make many more smaller bets. The shotgun scattered approach to video game design. I'm surprised more people aren't doing that, but and that's not necessarily what Microsoft's doing here. It sounds like they're spinning up a mobile studio to help Blizzard with mobile ports or something like that. So, but yeah, maybe there should be more AA investor or AA internal studios across the board. PlayStation, everyone's favorite PlayStation mascot, Astro, is getting his own PlayStation DualSense controller. So I'm very curious whether or not they showed in the trailer that the eyes move. So I'm very curious. I don't even know if you can light up under the panel on the DualSense. But I am excited for Astro's, like I said, one of my favorite characters that PlayStation has, and so him getting getting its own controller, I'm very interested in. My $80 instantly evaporated from my wallet as soon as I heard about that, because I'm very excited for an Astro controller. So I'll have a link down below for you to check that out. Do you want to skip all the grind in your MMORPG and just jump straight into the dungeon crawling with your friends with, individual kind of RPG roles of tank and healer and DPS? Well, that's what the team over there making Fellowship, I guess a very, kind of bland name, but the game's called Fellowship, and that's exactly what it is. It's just dungeon crawling with your friends, kind of a World of Warcraft dungeon, but that's the whole thing. You don't have to grind up and get the right gear and all that kind of stuff. You will. It sounds like you will obviously get gear at the end of it, and then that'll help you level up to the point to where you can do harder dungeons with different versioning and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just one of those simple ideas that makes you feel like, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, I think just being able to like hop in and do a 3-man dungeon with friends is something that I think a lot of people will really enjoy. So I'll definitely keep Fellowship on my radar, and I'll have a link down below. I think they have signups for an alpha, which I already signed up for this week. So looking forward to kind of playing that with more friends. Speaking of games I can play with friends, Jackbox is spicing things up with a naughty pack. They're going a little X-rated in that there's going to be a lot of. Not that Jackbox was ever very PC to begin with, but yeah, the I guess they're making more explicit games, and I was trying to get a sense of what these like 3 new games were, but yeah, I'll have a link. You can check out the trailer down below, but yeah, I'm excited to see what Jackbox take on like a spicy naughty series of games will look like. And with that new launcher they've got working, maybe they'll all be just in one place, and you can have your naughty pack right next to your Jackbox 1 through 10 or whatever. So looking forward to that. But that's it for this week. Let me know if you feel like I forgot anything down below in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye.